Welcome to the True Leaders podcast, where we dive deep into the stories, strategies, and mindsets of individuals who are not just at the top, but who are truly shaping our world for the better. Join us as we uncover what it takes to lead with purpose, integrity, and real impact.
How can African leaders create a society where everybody feels valued?
That's a little miracle. How can African leaders say that again? Practice is the eighth question, isn't it?
Yes.
What can you say about African political leaders? Yeah, demonstrating cultural awareness while leading their multicultural citizens. Okay, let me be honest with you in this. We are heading nowhere. You see, when you give a child, when in the secondary school, like when I went to secondary school, it was a boarding school, and produced what that reached. You plant something on it. The season after one season, whatever that you bring from the ridge that's your responsibility. Now, African leaders has not understood their responsibility. Their pocket is their responsibility. Their children is their responsibility. Their business is their responsibility. But the leadership of other people is not their responsibility. They are doing us a favor. That is why I said, if we continue in this trend that has left since how many years, then when you give a child an assignment and the child is playing, you're telling him, listen, this assignment, you're going to pass it. He says, yes, mommy, I'll pass it anyhow. And the child comes in to fail that assignment. But what will you do to that child? What level of beating will it be? Beating does not solve many problems. African leaders are far more behind. When you leave a race, when you give somebody a race to finish and the person is playing, he doesn't know that he has to finish the race. So if you tell me the race to finish and I'm telling you I can't finish the race, why? So the leaders of Africa has not understood their goals yet. Because we see the sun every morning, the moon every night. We invest. We think life is going to continue like that. Okay, we go to church and we also see that they say Christ will come. So all these things are not ringing bells to African leaders in addressing the challenges that the cultural communities are going through. Let me take for instance. You see, I'm pointing at religion for one thing. Our attitude. When African leaders will begin to ban pornographic videos in every African internet, when African leaders will continue to stand up and say, let our women be educated about their genital rights and what they are doing as prostitution, when African leaders will stand up to understand that the common child begging on the street, requires a good health system and a school system that can help that child. To these leaders, listen, the next podcast we're going to do might be for my governorship election, because I'm introducing a cultural party assembly. And that cultural party is going to expel the political class of Nigerian leaders. Now, it's a conservative party that will fly through all West Africa. But I'm going to start it here. The reason is the traditional rulers has to be the one to represent the people, not the politicians. So what we are seeing in Africa is indirect rule system. You see, you can't be living in Nigeria when all the names of the people are colonial masters. Even the name of Nigeria is not changed, even till now. Our leaders are not considering to decolonize our people from the European, not leaving us independent. Your government, your cultural government is still what we are practicing, and we're not getting it right. So we need a system that works, that identifies the cultural norms, and they can help legalize or illegitimate or ban certain things that should not be in existence in this current dispensation. That's the only way they can control the society. Because what we see today in Nigeria, people think that illegalities are now legalities. Because when you set up the apparatus for corruption, everywhere there will be lawlessness. So we are suffering from lawlessness, and you cannot build a nation with lawless citizens. So, to cut my story short, a valuable nation has valuable people, has valuable leaders. A stupid nation has stupid people, has stupid leaders. Look, check every African leader, African leaders, and see their trademark, and look at their citizens. That is where I will say, for now, we are going to expel the political class and introduce the cultural class. So in that, your traditional rulers will be your representatives so that they will impact your life personally. Because I know I'm a prince in my own town and my people have access to me. So if we represent the people, they have access. But if the people that were politically chosen, causing problems, fraternizing, Nigerian democracy and politics is a court game. So you can see that they have fraternized every set of it. So you cannot advise the government. So what you need is to set up a political force, African cultural political force, that will combat the menace and the influences of foreign democracy or foreign culture in our place. That's all I can say about that.
Okay, that's a very interesting question, a very interesting answer. Miss Anastasia, I want to ask you the very same question, but at the global level, since you deal with clients from different spheres of life, from different continents, how do you think leaders create a society where everybody feels valued?
Well, first of all, it starts with the leader. You know, if a leader has strong values and high standards, you know, that means they have respect, they value other people, they value other cultures, they know about the other cultures, you know, they know how to, you know, how to differentiate different cultural backgrounds, you know. It comes from themselves, from the leaders themselves, because, you know, there are, as Dr. earlier said, you know, there are good leaders and bad leaders, you know, and it all starts with us as people, as personality. So you know, a good and a strong leader with strong values can be spotted very easily, you know, and unfortunately there are not too many of them these days, but, you know, that's why we have them as an example of what not to be. And the thing is, we have so much information this day, you know, we have so many, like, we have internet, we have access so easily to so much information, rather than back in, I don't know, maybe 10 years or 20 years, even 30 years ago, we didn't have so much information about other cultures, about, you know, other countries, and you know, leaders were just doing whatever they wanted to do. But these days, everyone has to be informed, they have to be aware, they have to have strong values and strong you know, strong standards, because the thing is, you know, there are a lot of leaders who don't have boundaries, or who don't respect anyone, but there are leaders who do, and there are very few leaders who do that, who we can take example from. So everything starts with us, you know. If we want to be a good leader, if you want to value people, it starts with us.
Miss Lucia, you just made a very important point there, where you say the leaders that value and understand the leaders value and standards. And Dr. Dellington was just saying that if you are not a very good leader, it will be seen through your people that you are leading. In other words, saying that you are all talking about the same thing. I want to ask Dr. Dellington, I'll start with you. What advice do you have for aspiring leaders who want to develop their cultural awareness and skills? Let's look at the level of me and you. Let's look at the level of a boy child and a girl child that is still having a future, and he or she wants to be an aspiring and wants a leader. how do they develop their cultural awareness? Start with you, Miss Anastasia. At our level, what advice do you have for aspiring leaders?
Yes. So my advice to all the aspiring leaders, everyone who wants to be a leader, it comes from the understanding who the leader is. So the leader, a true leader, is not somebody who is a dictator who gives orders. A true leader is somebody who gives the tools and takes care of the people around them. They basically, somebody, imagine like it's like a gardener. So the gardener takes care of the plants, by knowing what type of water to give them, what type of nutrients, when to water them, and the same thing, and of course his garden is going to be flourishing. So the same thing goes with people and leadership and everyone who wants to be a leader. First of all, we need to nurture and we need to develop ourselves. And then once we developed ourselves, then we have to develop other people around us. And, the way we develop other people around us and help them grow and succeed is to give them the right tools, to give them the right mentorship, the right coaching, again, understanding the background, understanding their culture, where they're coming from, maybe tapping, back into what what their culture was doing back in the days, or because some of these things they were lost, and I think it's very important to keep them alive even in this even in this day and age.
I think we're talking about cultural awareness, and we all know very well there are no really institution where one can go and learn about cultural awareness apart from the Center of Africa Traditional Studies that is funded by Dr. Bellington. Are there other platforms that whereby people are really talking about cultural awareness? Any of the platforms that you perhaps know about, or perhaps the book or YouTube channel where young people and aspiring leaders can just go and check out information while the system is properly placed in institution or channel where people can really engage, even in conversations and debates that are surrounding cultural awareness.
So I think the best way is not to go and watch on YouTube. I think the best way is to actually travel to that country. Eat the food the traditional food. Speak to the local community about their traditions. Because I'm pretty sure they have a lot of interesting stories to tell. That's the best way to understand and to learn about different culture, because then you can experience everything yourself, and then you sort of like it gives you different different perspective, rather than just going on YouTube or on a platform and learning about it and without experiencing it live. Because we people will like experiences, and I'm sure every great leader, they did that. They went to that country, they went to that society, they went to that community, they asked questions, and this is where you can spot a true leader from a false leader.
So in other words, what you're saying is that we start visiting where we have access to in the society. We visit elders and find out about the culture, why is it being done and not be, for us to be able to instill that cultural norms in ourselves. And the same practice should apply to our children. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
yes. Miss Anastasia, unfortunately, in the absence of Dr. Bellington, I really would like to thank you for making time to be with us tonight. It was a very, very interesting conversation. I have interviewed in different topics, but I have never come across this topic. It's so interesting. Thank you so much for making time to our viewers, for being with us tonight. And what's your last word? Any last word for our viewers, or perhaps a project that you're working on in line with cultural awareness in terms of leadership?
Well, I think I think we first of all we have to know our culture before going to learn about different culture. And we have to kind of find the leaders in our countries who have strong values, who have high standards, and who respect other cultures as well, and then go and maybe learn from them, see what they do differently, see how they do things differently, how they support other communities. And I think it's the most important thing is to be aware and to have respect, and to teach other people as well to have respect for your culture, for your background, and for your for your kind of for who you are. So this is what I would suggest to everyone. And please, Evelina, thank you so much for having me tonight. And please send my regards to Dr. Darlington, even though he's not his internet probably died. But I know the internet in Nigeria is kind of bad, because I had a few meetings a few weeks ago in Nigeria, and we had to reschedule because of the internet. So please send him my regards, and he's doing an amazing job, by having the centers in Nigeria and across the world.
You will definitely hear about it. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. One key point that I've taken away from you is to say that learn about your culture, because it's going to be impossible for you to teach me about your culture when you do not listen to it. And also, when you do not respect your very own culture, you will as well not be able to respect other people's culture. That's a very, very strong statement. And thank you very much. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a good evening.
Have a very good evening. Bye.